Slide right up. It's not the one we called up, is it? That'd take a while. And this is how you come down. All right, hold on a minute here. This thing will set up right here. What do we got? There we go. I think that's working. Man, I'm liking the audio on this little GoPro. It is killer, don't you think? It's way better than the other shit that's been going on in here. These Sony handy cams and the echo it's picking up, and one of my older cameras all garbled like the freaking water was drooling on the mic, and on and on and on. Anyway. It's a new day, and don't forget, no matter what's going on up there, how shitty it gets, or whatever's going on in the world today, make sure you ground your feet out on the ground every once in a while, even if there's snow there. Who gives a shit? Ground yourself out, and make sure you do something you love to do. All right? It's very, very important. That's why we're here. We can all get caught up in trying to solve problems, point out evil, fight it, but you have to make sure you do what you love to do. You have to do what makes you feel good. All right? Even it out. Now, what's the word on the street? Word on the street. Sarah's howtohuntstore.com is probably going live tomorrow. The inbox has been getting flooded for people asking about these lids. I think she's got 12 different flavors or something. And then she's also getting some Club No Return mugs together, because I want one. We can all have a mug of coffee together, whatever. And Sarah's currently unemployed as well, so she's going to really make a good go at providing some real cool stuff for the people. So I will let you guys know when that's live and available. I think the one thing right now is trying to figure out how to find what's the next best route for the pay thing. I know we all went heavy on PayPal and they had it coming, and I'm hoping they don't have us by the nuts. I don't think they do. So if any of you are familiar with the next best way for people to purchase online and hook up to their website, let me know. Email it to me. Possibly even mention it in the comment section below. Because I do know Canadians can do a e-transfer, and that's super simple, but out of country is a little more difficult. PayPal's been the go-to until they screwed the people over huge. And we just cannot support that kind of tyranny, right? What else? I just made a fairly lengthy video full of knowledge for the How to Hunt Angling, Hunting, and Angling channel. I'll put a link to that in the description of this one below for all of you who are curious about hunting, knowledge, how to pull it off, how to find a spot. I'm more concentrated on the knowledge of finding a new zone, keeping it a secret, and what to do to become successful. And that's up. Now, that's my babble. Let's get out. Let's get some people heard, right? Get some knowledge shared and gained. This is the title, 300 Winchester round into the brisket, no effect. Read below first. Sorry, the hard part to believe. All right, here we go. It was not a black bear. It was a juvenile Sasquatch. They are unique individuals. It flipped over the bank and vanished before it cleared my line of sight. And he's got vanished in caps lock. This individual is the one that was slapping the north-facing roof/wall of my house or knocking on my back door for 25 years. 25 years? That doesn't sound like a juvenile to me. I've seen it 9 to 10 times. I saw it again 2 weeks ago. It has young now. Okay, I got you. I used to think I would shoot one if I ever saw to prove existence. The fact is I did shoot one. It did not die. This one likes to stroll on all fours. It is very long-legged and lanky. It has a short muzzle compared to a black bear. Its pads are easily 6 to 7 inches wide. On all fours, its back is easily 6 to 7 feet high. It is 3 feet wide at the rump. When it stands upright, it is over 12 feet tall. Black hair. I have not had a proper reference to accurately. Estimate standing height. It had a white T upon its chest when young. That's crazy. That's just like a bear, right? And then black bears don't have a white T just when they're young. Adults have them as well. It's just a genetic feature that you carry all your life. It has nothing to do with age, is what I'm saying. I may have shot part of that off. I thought I was shooting a black bear in caps lock for meat. I did not fully understand what happened. Everything clicked 2 weeks ago. Last time I saw it, I believe it released the memory for me. That's interesting. It buzzed my innards 6 times in one day. 2 years back, I wrote you about that. It did not like me sighting in my rifle in the area. I did it anyway. My right to be here/there. It was afraid for its young. I told it to keep them out of my line of fire. They cloak too. So it's likely a chore. Fully appreciate why it does not like me shooting nearby. 300 Winchester to the chest must suck. The crow-drone thing is very real. They can use any bird species. Crow and hawk, eagle and owl are much less likely to fall as prey to other raptors. Imagine watching through the eyes of a robin, knowing its life force as a hawk takes it for a meal. Please consult the trusted data peoples on this point. I'm no one special. I do not think I have a unique ability. In fact, I'm a 60-year-old disabled guy who's trying to figure it all out still. I meditate often. This is addition to the writing below. My experience is, having had a non-verbal communication while awake and alert, I've been taken with on a flight over some of the area that I love to hunt and explore. I love the outdoors, hunting, exploring nature. I will sit and meditate while out in nature. I'm hyper-aware. And nothing can creep up on me except a Sasquatch most times. I feel the presence. If I were not so disabled, I'd be enjoying snowshoeing. Alas, I have 7 pairs now, and they are wall hangers. I keep hoping for a reprieve. I was just as shocked as you would be to experience what seemed like my own voice emitting the loud, grating, raspy call of a crow. I can do crow raven calls with my own voice well enough to piss off in-town crows so they will follow me and attack me. The bush birds know to not dive bomb a man who is packing. I also had real-time, fully awake flashes of overviews from a crow or raven in flight several times. I can't explain it. I credit Sasquatch for this experience. I sense the presence during these experiences. I see them seeing me. Well, this sounds right out there, right? Which it would everything you just said would sound out there to anybody today. Here's another email attached to the bottom. Dear Steve, I'll use my name. A realization many years after the fact. In 1999, I'm spring black bear hunting with a buddy. We hunted spring bear for about 10 years. Most years we would punch 2 tags each, and we enjoyed sausage from the meat. My favorite is pepperoni and garlic oil. This one sunny spring afternoon, heading west on the Beaver/Bear Road, east of Prince George. We see a tall, lanky black bear happily shuffling towards us on the right side of the road. This animal had a beautiful dark chocolate, nearly black, long, shiny, healthy coat of hair and a white star of hair on his chest. The vehicle came to a stop. I got out, got low, centered crosshairs on the brisket. Perfect head-on shot at 30 yards or less. I lose the 180 grain, 300 Win Mag round. I saw the impact. The animal both turns to the ditch at the right and flips/rolls in the air, dropping out of sight. We both move in and nothing. No bear. The forest road had an 18-inch high greater berm on the edge and dropped 4 to 5 feet to a marshy area that was heavily covered in prickly low brush, which covered porous ice about 3 to 4 feet thick. The animal should have been right there in the ditch, dying or dead, and it was not. Not even a drop of blood, no tracks. There was a very clear view for 100 yards around this spot. We both were experienced enough to know where it should be, but nothing. It was as though this thing evaporated into thin air. I even checked a culvert, but it was an 18-inch pipe that was two-thirds full up with ice. I called back to Buddy, who found a tuft of hair on the road. It was unusual hair, and he had even a mix of the white hair in it. No blood, no tracks, vanished. This confirmed to me that my shot hit its mark. I practiced often in those days, including at point blank and 5 and 10 yards. It seemed practical to me to do so. A shot and seemingly dead bear could jump up as you move in close. I even practiced turning the rifle sideways to sight alongside the barrel for accurate up-close shots. This practice was recommended to me from a friend who guided professionally for his dad's outfit. The entire event was unusual. The animal seemed oblivious to our approach. It also seemed to be happily shuffling along like if a bear could skip, semi-hippity-hop, like a kid does. The back of it was easily 4 to 5 feet off the ground. Okay, 4 to 5 feet, that's crazy. That's like ridiculous, huge. The hard to believe part is something I would like to hear your response to firsthand. This conversation should be recorded and used on your channel. There are aspects of it that answer some questions and create even more. Okay, man, gotcha. Appreciate your email, man. You've emailed us a handful of times, and I do remember the one with the balls of lights in front of his chest along the highway that you saw. Again, wrapping my brain around the statements of people saying that Sasquatch see through the eyes of birds. That is such a strong statement from anybody, right? I mean, I accept the fact that there's some crazy ass shit going on. I accept that fact, and I'm looking into everything I can. I'm listening to every single person speak without judgment. And if it weren't for me seeing one of these things, I wouldn't even be here, right? I wouldn't be here. But I have. And that was absolutely, it's ridiculous, it's bizarre, it's tough to wrap your head around and accept. I accept it. And the more people I know firsthand have seen these things, there's no way out of it. It's real, it's facts going on. Can't change it. Now, as you dig, some of the bizarre, crazy things we've heard. We've heard from nuclear scientists saying they saw these things becoming transparent as they jumped up and down. We've had scientists say they've seen these things climb out of an orb in the nighttime, what they might have called a portal that opened up right in front of them. A few scientists seen this firsthand as one climbed out and boom, hit the ground running. Okay? We have numerous people saying these things absolutely disappeared in front of their eyes. We've got other people who have seen these things, 4-foot wide being slipping behind an 8-inch tree and vanish. What the F? All right, we've got loggers who reported finding a massive skeleton inside the hollowed out trunk of a mature first growth cedar tree. The authorities shut the area down. Glowing eyes, right? It's endless, the shit that we're hearing non-stop from people around the world who are not connected in any way, but it's consistent, it's the same. Even when, if you catch the odd person, I've had emails from people, these pinheads that go, it's always the same shit, man, it's the same thing, same story, same emails, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if your brain worked and fired properly, your brain would be going, holy shit, is that ever significant, solid, factual evidence, right? If it was varied all over the map, then it would be a little ridiculous. It'd just be a bunch of people making up stupid-ass stories, send them in. But we've got people reporting the same shit that we have been raised to believe is impossible consistently. Now, the bird. So, saying that, I'm just trying to say to everyone that, yeah, I accept the fact that some crazy-ass shit is going on. But at the same time, there is some things for me, just because I think possibly because of my life and what I've done with it and the amount of time I've spent in the real world with nature, which is probably more than time with human beings. It's just real hard for me to accept that someone can dictate and tell me that a Sasquatch is seeing me through the eyes of a raven or a crow. Right? Because that would take some significant experiences and knowledge sharing from something we're not familiar with to back that up. How do you back that one up? And I'm not being threatening. I'm not being demeaning in any way. I'm just talking straight common sense. How do you back that one up? Right? How do you convince me, any human being, how do you convince me that you know 100% for a fact that anything is looking at me through the eyes of a crow? How do they get there? How do they know? Do you know what I mean? It's just a little much for me at the stage of the game I'm at right now. That's a tough one for me to swallow. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's not going on, but you're going to have to give me some freaking crazy ass evidence to back that up. All I'm saying. And that's how you discuss with people, right? That's how you have conversations. That's how you learn. You don't chop somebody off and say, that's bullshit, man. What an idiot. What, are you smoking crack or something? You know what I mean? You say why you're reacting to that story the way you are, state your case, ask for more knowledge. Ask for more. Learn, figure it out. All right, here we go. This title, A White One, Please Not Reveal My Name. And this is from a dear friend of mine. Hi, Stephen Sarah. Welcome home. I'm pleased that you're home safe. And we want to thank you for all your followers for the prayers. They helped in our time of need. This is our superhero First Nations ladies. You have a precious new little protector and family member. She'll eventually give you calm and a sense of relief. She'll give you so much pure love. I thought I would tell you of accounts of the wild man, and just to be a little different, I thought I'd tell you of a white one. I went to visit my older sister in her new home. She offered me tea. We sat and talked. She had a hummingbird feeder outside her front window, which faced the beach. I could see across the harbor and the head of the inlet from the same window. I noted that she was very still and quiet while watching the hummingbirds, or so I thought. She called me over to look. I thought she meant for me to notice the unusual colors of the new hummingbirds that we had not seen before. We talked often to strange birds that we have not seen before. Oops. Sorry. Instead, she pointed to the bluff across the mouth of the river that flowed out at the head of the harbor. My eyes were perfect back then. They're not anymore. There appeared to be a person sitting on the bluff. But even from my sister's window, I could see its arms wrapped around its knees. I knew the bluff well because we played on this bluff as children. I witnessed from the same location people setting nets to harvest sockeye salmon countless times. My sister wore glasses and she said it looked like driftwood sitting at the high tide mark. The tide was down at this time. I told her it was higher than the high tide mark. The hair in its arms appeared to be 4 to 6 inches long, and it appeared to have no neck, and its chin was on its arms. We both turned away to look for binoculars. When we turned back, it had disappeared. My sister said, maybe it was a log and rolled back into the water. It was a calm day, and there was no disturbance in the water and no waves. This is an elder teaching. There is no time, distance, or space in the spirit world. Steve, I have 1,000 questions about those things, and I'd like to hear what others have to say about this and what you think of this. This is just one story of the white wild man that lives down in my homeland. I have 4 or 5 others of this. I have 4 or 5 others of this one white wild man. We need to get together again. Yeah, we do. We're going to. We're gonna. And I saw that same bluff from my boat that day I went down there. So I was envisioning that particular chunk when you spoke of it, and I also knew to look there from the previous stories that you shared with me, and that is interesting. But you saw what you saw. You can't change that. You saw what you saw. You know what you know, and I'm looking forward to going out there and hanging out with you one day. I'm so behind right now, and but you have mentioned the white one a handful of times, and numerous people have seen the white one, and there's been white-haired beings have been sighted all over North America from people that aren't connected with each other, right? That's an interesting story, but isn't it funny? It is weird how many people will see one, look away for a tenth of a second, look back, they're gone. It's almost like if, let's just say, I used to think of it, I'd come up with that one earlier when I was thinking I was going to look for them intentionally. Or I already knew from enough people reporting it that if you do get your eyes on one, to not take your eyes off of it. Don't take your eyes off of it. Get your camera out, keep your eyes on it, and get it ready, because it's almost like if you have one caught in your sight, they can't escape. Possibly, right? And then, of course, you blink, gone. Isn't that bizarre? Blink, gone. Look away, look back, gone. Just like that. It's so weird. It's almost as if maybe possibly our vibration changes, not in our control at that short amount of time, and it puts us in the same vibration as one of these beings, and boom, there we are. We are eye to eye, we see each other, right? Maybe the shock of it, maybe our mind, when we start to think and look and whoa, and then just like a blink, possibly we change our vibration, and that cuts off a visual. Maybe, right? I have a feeling there might be something to what I just babbled about. But anyways, we'll be together soon again. Just got to get through a whole pile of shit I've had dropped on me. I'm so far behind. It's been chaos here. But we'll get through it. And then, of course, now my well pump down in my well is crapping out. And it's going to be another $7,500 frickin' dollars, some damn thing. It's like, good God. When's it going to stop? But anyway, I'm catching up, and we'll all be together again soon. Thank you so much for emailing us. All right, here we go. Speak of the devil. I shouldn't say speak of the devil. Coincidentally, I saw it walk through a dimensional doorway. I just want to start by saying thank you, Steve, for what you're doing. It takes someone with a good and honest heart, someone with strong conviction, and someone with a good soul to put themselves out there for all of us. Thank you for those kind words. My name is Catherine, and I live in central Michigan in the Lower Peninsula. I will start with a little background about myself. At the age of 7 years old, I started hearing what I believe are angelic beings. At that age, I didn't know any better. I just listened. I listened to their direction, to the knowledge that they gave me, and the lessons that they taught me. So many stories I could share, but that is for another time. Flash forward 50 years. I am very intuitive, and I have seen things that most people can't, and I understand most of it. I understand most of it. Ooh, that's a sentence. Except for this one experience. I work only with the divine. I'm a Christian, and I now see angels and other beings because of a near-death experience I had. We've heard this many times from different people. I can see the energy that people give off. We've heard that many times too. They're biosheaths. I see it on all living things, even water and rocks that have absorbed the sun's energy. Anyway, I am a Reiki master and an intuitive and a seer. When spirit speaks, I always hear it in my right ear. My best friend had come to me for healing. She's at my home in the back family room in a reclining chair, and I was on the floor on all fours looking up at her in a meditative state. I was reading her bio sheath and bringing her messages from the loved ones on the other side when all of a sudden I heard spirit say, "Sit up." I rose up in an upward kneeling position, still in a meditative state, and turned my head to look out the window to my right. I feel more in tune with the spiritual side of me at what I call tween time. This is at dusk or at dawn. It was late in the afternoon, and as I looked out the window, the shadows from the trees, I live in the woods on the Muskegon River, were being cast upon by the other trees. So, half the trees were lit up by the setting sun, while the other halves were shaded. My attention was drawn to one particular tree just inside the woodline at the back end of the yard. And as I stared at it, I watched a shadow step off the tree facing me. I could only describe it as a shadow person. Totally solid black, no distinguishing features, just a deep, dark, solid black, human-looking shadow. Head, shoulders, arms, torso, hips, legs, a human figure. In that moment, I knew this being saw me, and I knew that I saw it. I was immediately flooded in a fear I have never felt in my whole life, a crippling, soul-shattering fear. I believe it was there because it tapped into my energy and what I was doing. Have these beings been watching me my whole life? Did my divine or spiritual teachers finally reveal the truth to me? Why else would it be there watching me? But I know my angels wanted me to be aware of it. Hence the message, sit up. That being did not want me to know it was there. I know that. I felt that. But God and my angels did want me to know. The moment our energy met, and it knew I saw it, it turned sideways, took one step, and vanished, as if there was a door there that I could not see, and it stepped through the threshold. I believe in portals and in vortexes, but I also believe these interdimensional beings can open doors wherever they want to. I do not believe this is a demon or an angel. I do not believe it was some elemental being. I have a strong feeling it was a dimensional traveler. Was it from our future, a human being from some faraway time? Was it a being from a different world altogether? These are answers I may never know. I do believe many walk among us in our society, and this reality, this dimension, we are living in now. So, if by chance one of you beings are listening, why are you here? Who are you? Where do you come from? If anyone out there listening has had similar experience or has an answer, I'd love to know. Who was he? And by the way, I do believe that the Sabe people have the same abilities. That is, to open a doorway wherever and whenever they want to. They understand energy and can use it. I too use energy, but in no way have that kind of ability. LOL. Thank you again, Steve, for all that you do. Blessings to you and your family, and stay safe out there, Catherine. Catherine, appreciate it. The shadow beings. How many times have we heard that one? That description. How many hundreds of times have we heard the description of shadow beings? Something I have absolute nothing, I have no knowledge about. Do I want to see a shadow being? Nope. Do I want to have that absolute terror, dread while looking at something of that description? Not really. Have we heard enough honest people reporting in from frickin' around the globe to here to share with all of you the exact same description? Yep, we have. So how do you explain that one? I know there's a lot of people out there who do not want any of these topics even mentioned. They just don't. And they will say, well, you know, sometimes your brain just thinks it saw something it didn't see. And end of story. Done deal. I've heard a lot of people say that shit when it comes to the Sasquatch topic alone. I almost feel sorry for those people, but I just don't have any time to feel or think about them at all now. Step aside, get out of the way, take from what you will or leave it, right? And let me carry on my journey, my quest for the knowledge and the truth of all this crazy shit going on. Anyway, Catherine, I'm sure somebody has seen what you've seen. I already know they have. And hopefully, maybe they will comment in the comment section below this video directly for you, towards you, and you can all start swapping on that topic right away, right? I'm sure somebody will email me about it as well. Again, the Reiki thing. I know some people who are Reikis. I hope I pronounce it right. Man, it's pretty weird. It's a weird thing to me. It's been weird using the word weird to describe it. It's just bizarre when somebody can put their hand over top of your body and not touch you and you can feel heat. It's so weird. Anyway. Okay, here's somebody wrote in to about my concerns on guns being demonized and taken from the good people, which is so wrong. So it's titled Law Enforcement Reply to Question on Gun Grab. All right. Hello, sir. My name is Ron. I live in Nevada. I'm a 21-year recently retired police officer, and I also served in the Marine Corps and the Air National Guard. I've been watching your channel for about 1 year. I'm an avid hunter and a person who has experienced 2 Bigfoot encounters in my lifetime. No shit. Your channel is very relaxing and informative. I would normally not discuss my police career, but your question concerning, quote, gun grabs, end quote, came from the heart. I do not know if I can shed much light upon this, but I will attempt to share my thoughts. That's what I'm after. I follow Canada's news and the U.S. news because we are linked in many ways. I believe the United States' Second Amendment as strongly as anyone. I'll leave it at that. I was extremely disgusted with many parts of my last assignment in a program known as Gun Initiative. This program was designed to address the rising shootings in my city. I was assigned all shootings which involved no injury or death. I was shocked by the number of shootings when I joined the program. Please keep in mind this subject matter can be painful, frustrating for victims and witnesses. Totally get it. However, I rarely met a victim who strongly supported the right to bear arms. Victim is what this country is trying to create in the name of socialism. I agree. There is no doubt in my mind our country would like to disarm the population. Many would say I need my head examined, but I am sane and I am passionate about freedom. The mainstream media does not report all of the shootings and violence that occur in the cities unless there is an agenda. For example, Chicago. Chicago is suffering from failed leadership and horrific criminal gang activity. This is very softly discussed by the media, but the idea of taking weapons from citizens is their #1 goal, not prosecuting the criminal. Go figure. I could have solved many more shootings, except the media and the woke would not have liked what my evidence led to. The suspects were always repeat criminal offenders with extensive criminal history. When the agenda is gun control, this information cannot be readily released to the general public. Yeah, I've noticed that here in Canada too, same deal. This would take strong leadership and devotion to duty in order to squash these career criminals. Instead, they cry, too many guns. The liberal city councils do not want their woke city structure to reflect a lawless community with danger lurking. Instead, if the shooter is white and a nut job, then the media is all over this because it points to gun control as a solution. Never mind the countless shootings by career criminals who never go to prison. Steve, we could talk for hours about this. No doubt. Look at the public fear in Moscow, Idaho over the recent violent homicides of those college kids. Fear, like COVID, is a tool to control the public. I've not heard a single public official in Idaho talk about self-defense, awareness, or anything of that nature. Just fear and pointing the finger at the police investigation. I taught my girls to always be alert and ready to protect themselves. Yes, even with responsible firearm tactics. The rugged individual is being turned into a bad person. I recall standing in a coffee shop in my police uniform many years ago. I noticed a middle-aged male staring at my holstered pistol. He asked me why I felt like I needed to carry a gun. I was rather taken back by this question. I did not answer him. There are many people who are trying to vilify lawful gun ownership. These people are uneducated sheep who understand nothing but their narrow-minded beliefs of world order. Unfortunately, these same folks are being elected into all positions of power, to include judges and mayors, etc. When they reach high positions of government, their beliefs are directed down to government agencies, to include law enforcement. Thank goodness the Second Amendment is in place, or we would be in a world of hurt. I've attached a photograph of a document I was given in military survival training in the 90s. It's very old, but it is sobering to read. If you cannot read it, I can try to send it in a different format. Keep up the great work. Semper Fi, Ron. Ron, no attachment shit. Sorry. I got no attachment in this email. Send it again, if you would. Please. I mean, I'm at the stage of the game now, asking somebody to take time of their life to do something for us or me is just, I don't know. Time of life is so valuable. So, let's just say you've got some downtime and you're doing nothing. And if you feel compelled, please send that what you just mentioned to me again. But as well, you said you had 2 Sasquatch experiences in the past. I'm curious to know what happened. Were you on duty? Did you see it? Were you attending to a call about a sighting and saw the damn thing, or what? I'd love to hear of your experience with what you saw, the impact it had on you, what you thought when you first saw it, and whether or not you shared it with, at the time, with who may have been your superiors or not, what other cops that you worked with, law enforcement officers. If you shared those experiences with them, did you share that experience with one of your partners? What, right? Share it. Please, if you get a chance to, okay, man? I know time is valuable. Time is valuable. And the gun thing, well, you know my stance on it. If anything, whatever the government tells you today, you need to go the opposite direction. So they tell you they want your guns, buy more. Right? They tell you you can't have semi-automatic, which you're telling us in Canada, go get some fully automatic, right? It's pretty nasty what they're trying to do. It's not good. Now, please email me again. Absolutely appreciate your time. Please email me again. And I'm happy, glad you addressed the gun topic, because we need more direct knowledge shared with us from people who are directly involved in all aspects of it. I am freezing in here. The U.S. Forest Service knows all about Sabe, is the title of this email. Yes, they do. Dear Steve, I sent this story in and you read it 2 years ago. Now it's gone from your channel. Please share again, as it is important that our new members get to hear. Okay, man, I'm doing it. And you know what? You know what probably happened? We have had, 2 or 3 videos were taken down, discarded, couldn't retrieve them. And I got thrown in YouTube jail. So it's probably in one of those emails associated, right? So let's get into it. Dear Steve, I've been watching your show for over a year. The more I hear the shares, the more it makes me remember other non-sighting encounters before my actual sightings. This happened while I was working as a wildland firefighter for the U.S. Forest Service. The whoops and knocking across the lake in the 70s was always explained to us as kids as drunk hippies, as it was that time in Northern California. We lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we're in the Sierras, we're in the Sierras. Sorry, freezing. My lips are freezing off. And we're in the Sierras all year round, as we had a cabin at 6,000 feet in elevation. Skiing in the winter, the lake and fish in the spring and summers, deer hunting and wood cutting in the fall and early winter. After high school in '84, I moved up to our cabin to get away from the city. Of course, work is seasonal. We split our year between working at the local ski resort in the winter and firefighting May through October. Sounds great when you're 19. My first year was 1985 with the U.S. Forest Service, USDA, Department of Agriculture. I won the job of lead sawyer on a 30-man team. We were a hand crew and went where bulldozers and trucks couldn't go, either by jumping in or by helicopter. We're talking balls of titanium. Usually wilderness areas that have never been logged and therefore have no fire roads. The area, my particular forest, the Stanislaus National Forest contains the immigrant wilderness where Ron Moorhead recorded the Sierra Sounds. My first of 3 encounters occurred a few hours to the north of the Plumas National Forest, in which the town of Quincy is located. Main fire camp was at the local fairgrounds, where the different teams from around the country gathered to organize for the flight. Our team drew a helitack mission several miles beyond any type of road into an old-growth wilderness area. We split the 30-man team to fight 2 separate dry lightning strikes, each about an acre. It takes 4 trips to ferry the entire team in. Being lead sawyer, I was always in the first flight with one of my crew leaders to assess the approach and fell any trees needed to create rotor clearance. Sometimes that meant rappelling down and lowering my saw by rope. I felled 2 trees and the LZ was open. John, my crew leader, First Nation Miwok tribe member, and I started to establish the approach, tying a ribbon and limbing up trees so the remainder of the crew could easily follow. Very easy fire, as half a crew had hours out in cold before total dark. The plan was to bivouac and keep an eye on the burn until morning, when the birds would pick us up. This area was beautiful, giant old growth forest, barely any moonlight reaching through the massive trees to the forest floor. The 15 of us took out our space blankets and found a good tree to bed up against. Being exhausted, we were all fast asleep in no time. Wow, that's not easy to find comfort on the ground. It is not. I've done it numerous times and it sucks. It was around 3:30 a.m. when I woke, bolt awake, looking at the outline of an 8 to 9 foot creature covered in dark hair, not fur but hair, as you could see it move. Years of hunting all over the Sierra Nevada mountains told me this was not a bear. I started to reach for my chainsaw when I literally could not move. It felt like I was being held on every part of my body. That's crazy. I got effing pissed. I wanted to cut the bastard off at the knees. And that's when he turned and looked at me with, I swear to God, red, glowing eyes. I never was scared. I was pissed and started mind-speaking to the big bully to let me go and give me a shot. No shit. He then looked at me as an older man would look at a 19-year-old, and as clear as day, without making an audible sound, he said, "Thank you for taking care of our home. You are a friend." Wow. I immediately felt calm, and we stared at each other for over a very long minute or two, and he had a human face. Only a beard. He was 4 feet wide at the shoulders, and his hair hid any neck he might have had. His nose was turned down human-like, and his arms were long, and his hands hanging below his knees. He was standing very erect and human-like, his shoulders back and chest forward. He was ripped, and I knew the chainsaw was probably a bad idea. It was definitely a male, definitely. And he was 4 feet from me, and he could have reached out and grabbed me at any time. 4 feet. Man. I started to listen with my ears, and everyone was snoring or breathing normal, sleeping sounds. I looked back at him, and he honestly gave me a polite nod, turned and took 3 or 4 easy steps, which made no noise, and carried him in unreasonable distance where passed between 2 trees, at which point he just vanished. And where he had been looked like the transporter Sparkles from a Star Trek episode. No shit, beam me up, Scotty shit. Dead quiet, he never made a sound. I heard a guy sleeping 4 feet away start whimpering quietly, and the guy next to him made a noise that only could be him shitting his pants. I stayed effing quiet until it got purple in the eastern sky and went to piss a ways off. I turned when done, and standing right behind me was my crew boss, John. He was looking at me very seriously and in 2 words said, "Who else?" I told about the 2 guys, and this is where Sabe and the government effed my life and freedoms. I was sternly ordered to very quietly get the other 2 guys and meet him back here while he sent the rest of the crew to prep the LZ for the choppers. When he walked up, he held up his hand and told us not to speak. He advised us that as employees of the federal government, we now had top secret clearance and were never to speak to anyone of the bear encounter, not even between us. I begged him to just answer a question each. He looked at me disappointed and walked away to meet the choppers. While the 3 of us made our way to the meadow, I tried to speak with my teammates to no avail. They would not utter a word, both clearly in shock. We made the chopper ride back to town where the 3 of independently got to meet top FS brass and for real men in black. After a lengthy debrief and some very scary warnings, I headed for the showers and then chow. Both my team members was told too sick and were sent home due to smoke inhalation. I decided that I was going to shut up. Well, sorry, let me read that again. Did I screw up? After a lengthy debrief and some very scary warnings, I headed for the showers and chow. Both of my team members was told took sick leave and were sent home due to smoke inhalation. I decided that I was going to shut up. 'a Leavenworth Supermax didn't sound too inviting. When we left Quincy, we traveled back to our forest to work around there and await the next fire call. I tried to act normal, but felt like everyone knew my secret. It took a while to relax in my own skin again. Number 2, mid-fire season, we were called to go south a couple hours to the Sierra National Forest east of Fresno, near Sequoia and Yosemite National Park. David will appreciate that fact. The fire was slow moving, so my crew boss, John, and I hiked up a ridge across the canyon from the burn that slowly moving up the opposite ridge through a small stand of trees. Along its left side was a logged area that ran to the top was a strip with a stand of trees on its left. Standing in the middle of the logged strip, halfway up the ridge, was an 8 to 9 foot Sabe, reddish brown, standing there assessing the fire just as we were. All I could think of was how the bully held me down with his freeze ray the last time we met. I put as much concentration into broadcasting one very clear thought to this bastard: F you. No way, man. You got some attitude, I'll tell you what. We were at least 450 yards away in a tree line across the canyon, and he looked at me directly. He gave me a slight wave by raising his hand, took another look at the fire, and then turned towards the opposite stand of trees, and wow. He covered the 300-yard side hill to the opposite stand of trees in a time and speed that was not physically possible by the physics that we understand to date. The weirdest part was that he looked like he was gliding, each stride covering huge distances. Then, as before, when he passed into the tree line, he just vanished, followed by 2 blue softball-sized orbs. It was midday and it was very clear, with all the smoke traveling up over the ridge. I turned and looked at John, who just smiled at me and said, "What do you think of that bear?" It didn't mind speak to us as much as send a thankful feeling, very empathetic. I wouldn't want to be on this giant effer's bad side. Nothing was said between us, but again, it didn't frighten me so much as amaze me and make me very angry at the assholes who had been letting me run around the forest since 5 without telling me that the boogeyman was effing real. The last occasion to work with our fellow protectors of the forest came midway through my second fire season. We were dispatched to Yosemite, which shares a border with our home forest. We grew up to the top of Glacier Point at the ski area for helicopter operations. Being in the first sortie, I got a great ride dropping over Glacier Point and going straight towards the valley floor. The pilot pulling level at 500 feet and banked off El Capitan and circled towards Bridal Veil Falls, where the fire was located. On this first fire, I had to rope wrap down and have my saw lowered. The boss made a couple sweeps while I felled the 3 trees, giving us the clearance for the rotors. I'd already started to move upslope towards the fire tying ribbon and limbing the trees. Came over a rise, and standing 20 feet away was another Sabe. I started to laugh my ass off because he had this silly smile on his face. He in some way communicated that I had met his kin, as was welcome. He had me follow him up a route I would never have seen. I was in a perfect spot to start the initial attack on the burn line. I heard the crew coming up my trail. When John came over, all he said was, "Gotta love those bears, huh?" These are the official/unofficial encounters that officially I'm not supposed to talk about. Screw it. I'll call it a day here, but I have some rather effed up stories about where my top secret clearance took me in the service of our nation. Thank you and all the other brave souls for giving me the courage to right the wrongs I can. Loving your new place, but really miss Mr. Macaroni. Oh, me too. I was just saying that last night. The Go is doing pretty good at taking up some of that empty space we feel when losing a family member. Wow, I really feel better getting that off my chest. You'll love the other shit they've been lying to us about. Stay solid, Steve. Your army of truth is behind you, respectfully. I'm going to leave, member of the club, I'm going to leave your name out because I'm not sure if you said, you probably did say leave it out. I don't know. We'll leave it out for now, all right? And I remember reading that story, and that's a hell of a story, man. I can't remember. Are you First Nations man too? I can't remember. I wouldn't be surprised if you were. And you got more, send it in. I want to hear it. There's going to be a shit pile of people that are just going like this. Oh my God, today is right out to lunch. With a lot of our emails in, right? But I think to get ahead, first of all, we all have to accept the fact that our existence is basically out to lunch. That we have been lied to since day one and continue to be lied to today. Why? I haven't figured it out yet. And as well, that the fact that we need to figure out who the F we are. We got to figure out our story before we can have all the truth dumped on us. I'm certain of that. We got to figure out what's up with us, man. What is up with us? Who the F are we? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we being herded? Why are we being misled? How come nobody's telling us the truth? Right? Anyway, I'm absolutely freaking frozen. Gotta get inside, help Sarah out with the online shit. I think she's got like 130 hats right now that are good to go. And then slowly but surely, there'll be a lot more fun goodies available shortly. And I'll obviously gonna let all you know when and where. And if you guys could let us know what the next best pay methods are for online besides frickin' sleazy PayPal, let me know. All right, and we'll get this ball rolling. I'll be back shortly.